Today we'll be trying Singapore Airlines business class from Singapore all the way to London for 14 hours on their A380. Our journey starts at the world-renowned Singapore Changi Airport. But before going to the departures area, let's check out the Jewel. The Jewel at Changi is an impressive mall with its centerpiece indoor waterfall. This is one of the few instances where I would highly recommend coming to the airport early before your flight to visit. It's truly amazing and unique from any other airport in the world. There's plenty of shops and restaurants to justify visiting even without the intention of flying. And there's even early check-in desks for certain airlines, which further encourages passengers to arrive early and explore. Now let's head to Terminal 3 to catch our flight. I arrived quite early today and the check-in area seems to be fully self-service during this time. However, I assume that their counters will be staffed when we approach the final hours before departure times. Anyways, now that we're all checked in, let's visit the lounge. SQ passengers have access to the Silver Chris Lounge, which is segregated between business and first class passengers. Upon entering, it is immediately apparent how large and spacious this lounge is. The finishings and decor are beautiful and there's plenty of seating area. The lounge is separated into two areas, a smaller area which feels brighter and more open but has less food options, and a larger area which feels less open but with more food options. The buffet is quite extensive with many options compared to other airline lounges. There's self-serve cold and hot foods as well as stations where they prepare different dishes for you. The lounge also has really nice shower rooms available, but I had to wait over an hour for my turn when the lounge got very busy during the evening rush. Overall, this is one of my favorite business class lounges that I've visited. The only cons that I can think of is that despite its size, it still gets really busy. It felt like there were probably 20 wide-body flights departing within a few hours window. Speaking of window, the lounge does not have very good views of the tarmac, and the larger area feels quite stuffy due to the lack of natural light. Finally, if Singapore Airlines wanted to take it to the next level, I think it would be pretty cool if they offered a la carte dining for business class passengers just like United's Polaris lounges. I'm greeted by the crew and make my way to my window seat, 93A. Here's a look at the middle seats. I like how you aren't sitting very far from your seatmate, so you're actually able to hold a conversation. On the other hand, a divider can be raised if you're traveling alone for more privacy. Initial impressions is that the seat is pretty wide, and there's plenty of legroom in the seating position as expected. Seat function controls are on the side, as well as foldable armrests. The seat also has a mirror and a remote control for the in-flight entertainment. The tray table comes out like so. In the little storage compartment to the side, there's a water bottle, headphones, the menu, and other documentation. I received a glass of orange juice as a welcome drink. Now that we've gotten settled in our seat, let's take a look at the amenity kit. The kit contains skincare products from Penhaligons, as well as an eye mask, socks, and slippers. The menu has a few different choices for dinner. However, Singapore Airlines is famous for their book-to-cook service, which allows you to choose from a vast list of different dishes and cuisines. Therefore, I opted for the lobster thermidor. For a starter, I was served a plate of smoked salmon with a side of bread. I'm personally not a fan of smoked salmon in general, so I won't give them too hard of a time on it. Then came out the lobster thermidor. The presentation was okay, but I thought the flavors were really bland and could use more seasoning. Finally, for dessert, I chose the banana cheesecake, which was delicious. Overall, I appreciated that each course was brought out separately instead of on a single tray, but the lobster thermidor was a miss for me. I would give this meal a 6 or a 7 out of 10. Naturally, after my meal, I visit the lavatory. The lavatory was well stocked with amenities, but my biggest problem was the horrible stench. To give the benefit of the doubt that it wasn't just the doing of the previous passenger, I tried one of the other lavatories in the middle of the business class cabin at a different time, and the same stench was still there. This was really unexpected for me, as visually the lavatory was clean. To give them another chance, I visited the rear business class lavatory, and luckily that one smelled just fine. I am really disappointed that this was even a problem to begin with. You'd think that an airline as prominent as Singapore Airlines would have had those problems taken care of, especially in business class. The in-flight entertainment was really good. There's a pretty big screen that's fast and can also be controlled via touchscreen. There's also a good selection of movies. However, what I find the most impressive was the Wi-Fi on board. Singapore Airlines is pretty generous, providing free and unlimited Wi-Fi to all KrisFlyer members, as well as non-members in business, first, and suites class. And as if that wasn't enough, The Wi-Fi was fast enough for me to watch YouTube videos, although I assume that may be a your mileage may vary situation. Here's how your seat looks in its lie flat position. The position of the footwell forces you to sleep diagonally, which isn't ideal, but that's the trade-off for having a more spacious seat in the sitting position. I didn't mind it too much, but taller people might struggle a bit more. Shortly before landing, let's take a look at what's for breakfast. I again went for the book to cook option and ordered the unagi don. The flavors in this one I thought were better than the lobster thermidor. However, even though this might be a nitpick, unagi is normally served skin side down, whereas mine was served skin side up. Again, I'm well aware that this is just nitpicking at this point, but this is really the first time I've seen unagi served like this. Anyways, after I finished my meal, it seems that one of the FA realized that they forgot to serve me the fruit plate that's supposed to come with breakfast. I really didn't mind since it seemed like a genuine mistake that could happen to anyone. But when the fruit plate came out, I kid you not when I say that it would have probably been better if they had just forgone the fruit plate. Because this was the saddest looking fruit plate I've ever seen. Even the single strawberry was off. I would be lying if I said I wasn't a little disappointed with today's flight. Maybe the high expectations prior to boarding made it feel underwhelming. This isn't to say that there was nothing good about tonight's flight. The lounge in the airport experience was great, the complimentary Wi-Fi was very much appreciated, and the seat itself was also very comfortable and felt quite private even without a privacy door thanks to the little partition between the aisle and every seat. Not to mention how impressive it is to fly on an A380 as these double-decker planes will slowly be going extinct. However, the toilet situation is a real shame, and I'm sure Singapore Airlines does normally nail their onboard dining, otherwise they wouldn't carry such a good rep. But today's flight was simply just not the case. Perhaps I'm being a bit harsh, but onboard dining was one of those things that I really expected Singapore to do really well in. Thanks for watching to the end of the video. Leave a like and subscribe to not miss my next upload, and click here to watch another video recommended by YouTube.